Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome, welcome. My name's Jessica McCracken, and I'm the Senior Director of Creative Engagement here at Front Porch Community Services. And welcome to the 8th Annual Creative Aging Symposium. Just fantastic, in this 1.5 hours together, we will celebrate creativity in all its forms to shape the way we see ourselves and the world around us. Our theme this year is Hope Thrives. The creative process can become a path for individuals to navigate changes, to innovate, to find new ways, to persevere. And creativity can be a way for community to come together like this in collective action to manifest hope for our society. Today, you will experience the magic of our 3 creative engagement programs, Ruth's Table, Front Porch Gallery, and Creative Spark, all a part of our Front Porch Community Services Division. At Front Porch, we use creativity as a tool, a lens, and an important means to bring people together. Today, we'll have poetry, drawing, mindful activities. Have a pad and paper, some markers handy. This is going to be an interactive experience. We'll save time for Q&A at the end. You'll see that function at the bottom of your screen. You'll also notice the chat box. Please activate the chat box. It's so fun just to feel like we're all together here in this moment. This event is being recorded and will be posted on our YouTube playlist to enjoy in the future and share with others. We so appreciate you all being here. I'd like to kick things off with our first segment by welcoming Evan Johnson up, representing Ruth's Table. Thank you so much, Evan, and we look forward to kicking off this 1.5 hour long event together.
Greetings, everyone. My name is Evan Johnson, and I am the program director at Ruth's Table in San Francisco's beautiful and culturally vibrant Mission District. We are on the native lands of the Ramaytush Ohlone people here in the San Francisco Bay Area, and it is my honor to connect with you all today about something that I hold very dear in my heart and that I'm very passionate about, which is intergenerational community connections. So one of the things that we aspire to do at Ruth's Table is to see how the arts can be a vehicle for connecting people across generations, cultures, and of diverse abilities and backgrounds. We are thrilled that it's Pride Month. Happy Pride Month, everyone. We're going to be celebrating with a wonderful event on the 21st of June here at Ruth's Table with a wonderful drag queen story hour. We've got some family-friendly activities, delicious food, a wonderful DJ, and 6 performers between the ages of 25 and 75, representing a broad spectrum of the LGBTQ plus community. So that's something to look forward to on the horizon. But today I'm going to tell you all about one of my favorite intergenerational programs that we host at Ruth's Table, which is called Gen Blend. It is an intergenerational writer's potluck, because when you put food and the arts and people of different backgrounds together, magic really does happen. I want to share my screen briefly and just show you a couple snapshots from our photographer, Frank. He took some beautiful pictures of one of our recent Gen Blends, and one of our guest speakers today, you'll see in one of the photographs here too. We've got on this picture, we've got a picture of, let's see, his name is Enrique, and he is reading at the microphone in front of a beautiful community installation that was in our space. You can see those beautiful wings behind Enrique, and those are made up of individually decorated feathers that, when combined, created a big community wingspan. And that served as a backdrop, as all of our exhibitions do for this program. So here's Enrique reading to a room filled with people. We tend to get between 40 to 60 people at this event every month. It happens on the first Thursday of the month here in San Francisco at our space in the Mission. And you can see a diverse group of folks of different ages, ethnic backgrounds, abilities. I'm going to go just through a few more of these slides. You can see my little dog Chonky there on this picture as well. It's just wonderful. Like I said, there's food. People sometimes play music. You can see a guitar in the lower right-hand corner leaning against the wall. People are invited to share 3 minutes of anything they would like to share. We also feature four writers from different community organizations, and one of those community organizations is here today, and that is Litquake. And Litquake is an incredible institution here in the Bay Area. They do a wonderful event here in our neighborhood called the Lit Crawl that encourages people to move throughout the Mission District from venue to venue, oftentimes non-traditional venues, to experience the power of the literary arts. And we love hearing from these readers. We have Litquake as one of our community partners, as well as Community Living Campaign, Decentered Arts, and we've played with other partners like Adobe Books and Golden Sardine, a really groovy literary hub in the North Beach neighborhood of San Francisco. And it's just a really special time to listen to different perspectives and hold a spotlight on, each of these important voices that come through our doors to share and connect with others. This kind of shows kind of the other side of our gallery. You can see we get a great crowd, and it's a really beloved event. So if you're in San Francisco on the first Thursday of the month, we hope you'll come by and join us. And I'm going to stop sharing my screen, and I want to introduce up here to the stage Anton from Litquake. Litquake, he'll be able to tell you a lot more about their organization, and specifically today about the Elder Project. So we connected with Litquake knowing that they had this special project that that really empowered older adult writers to explore and process and connect with their inner voice, and to share that outwardly with others for feedback and for connection. And it's just beautiful to see the connections in the community that's been built around this program. So we really wanted to highlight and celebrate Litquake Elder Project. I welcome to the stage Anton to tell us more about that.
Thank you so much, Evan. Hi, everyone. My name is Anthony Fangari. I've had the privilege of working with the Elder Project since 2018, about 2 months after it launched. And since then, I've watched this community grow into one of Litquake's most meaningful programs. Litquake, as many of you know, has been producing literary events in San Francisco since 1999. That's thousands of public programming and over 11,000 authors with more than 300,000 attendees. And at its core, Litquake is committed to accessibility, cultural equity, and building platforms for writers often left out of mainstream literary spaces, including BIPOC writers, LGBTQIA writers, immigrants, and those limited financial needs, and of course, seniors. The Elder Project, which I direct with Tam Putman, who isn't here today, but she's just amazing, is a direct reflection of that mission. Each week, participants come together to write, share their work, and build community. The impact is real. 100% report feeling more socially connected, and nearly all of our participants say the program has helped them feel more positive, and many have built friendships that continue outside of the class. For some, it's one of the few consistent creative communities that they are able to engage with. We hold workshops in person and online at various locations, including Bethel Church, the San Francisco Campus for Jewish Living, San Francisco Village, IT Bookman, and several others, and including the Community Living Campaign. One of the most exciting parts of this program is that every year we publish an anthology of our writers' work. This year is our 5th volume. I have it here in my hand, and we're documenting and celebrating the writing that comes out of the workshops. This is the year before. They're pretty thick, good quality. They are actually available at the San Francisco Public Library. And I believe that they are $10, but I do think I saw somebody in the chat say, how much are they to purchase? I believe they're $10, but they may or may not be sold out. I'm not sure. You'd have to check on our website. You could reach out to Tam Putman, who is in charge of that. Our website is litquake.org. Specifically to find the Elder Project, it is litquake.org/Elder Project. And then today, this is the best part of what we're doing, what Litquake is doing today. You're going to get to hear from 2 of the writers that have been so important of part of this program and helping it grow. First, I will welcome MG Thomas to the stage, and this is MG's bio. MG was born and raised in Texas, but has been improved by moving to the Bay Area. After a career in the business world, she now leads a memoir writing class for Litquake, the Community Living Campaign, and SF Rec and Parks. Her poems and short stories have been published in Sparkle and Blink, Persimmon Tree, and the SF Library's Poem of the Day. Please welcome me and join me in welcoming MG Thomas. Please take it away. Lovely to see you, by the way.
Thanks, Anthony. Okay, my first poem here touches on hope and then takes a right turn. It's called The Poetry Suit. In the blackness of night, I woke up with Emily's words in my head. Hope is the thing with feathers. But then I thought maybe hope is also this other thing. It's not always that thing with feathers. Sometimes it's an opposite, a mirror image, or maybe a shadow. Sometimes hope is only visible in darkness, in that silent, gauzy time between sleep and slow awakening. Hope is that thing that poems are made of. Later, someone tells me that's poetry. I deny it. That would make me a poet. That suit doesn't fit. It constrains me, confines me, certainly does not define me, and it's itchy. But what am I to do when a sprinkling of words tickles me awake in that silent, gauzy time? I keep my eyes closed, pretend I'm still asleep, but the words remain in my head. They shift positions, take turns trying to lift the inside of my eyelids, and when that fails, they start a relentless, annoying dance inside my brain. I groan, open my eyes, and sit up, and shrug my reluctant arms into the jacket of that ill-fitting, itchy poetry suit. That's the first one. The second one came from a prompt from a Litquake class, which was simply to take a quote that you like and write to it. And my quote was from Joseph Campbell, which was, "What you have to do, you do with play." So the poem's called Play. Maybe that's a good kickoff for today's event. What you have to do, you do with play. So play as if your life depended upon it. What is living for anyway? To live. So live and let your playful energy pour out of you, a rushing river you're powerless to dam. In fact, dam the dam. Stop trying to stop your playful spirit. Splash into that raging river and let it carry you where it will. No need for control. Just jump in for the ride. Raise up both hands and yell yeehaw or woohoo or damn or whatever cry roils up unbidden from that inner spot of utter joy, that spot you've worked so hard to tamp down or ignore whilst becoming that responsible, predictable, boring adult. Wear that shirt that no one but you likes. Don that hat that can't be ignored and dare the world to say something. Go ahead, let loose, play, dance, sing, kick off those sensible shoes and wiggle your toes in cool, squishy mud or toasty, warm sand. Fighting that spirit of play is like wanting to stop your own blood from flowing. Pointless and ultimately fatal. Thank you.
MG, thank you so much. That was amazing. I believe I've been working with MG since 2019, and it's just been such a blessing to be able to, one, get to know her, and then two, just to be able to hear her work. So I really appreciate you sharing. And then next is Barbara Kiewicz, and this is her bio. Barbara Kieferowitz started writing when she discovered journaling quieted her chronic pain. Her book, Love in the Time of Chronic Illness for Patients, Caregivers, led to articles in popular clinical publications. She has published poetry, fiction, and memoir writing in Passenger Journal, Bright Flash Literary Review, and the Writer's Journal, and Litwick's elder anthology called Listen to Your Elders. One of her pieces was recently nominated for a Pushcart Prize. Huge deal. She spends half her time in San Francisco advocating for patients and caregivers, and the other half she spends in the foothills, hiking and watching out for mountain lions. Please join me in welcoming Barbara Kieferowitz. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you, Anthony. And I am one of the elders whose life has been made so much better because of Litquake classes, including getting to know MG, who I could listen to for hours. And Anthony and Tam and the other teachers are just inspirational. And most of what I'll be reading originated from prompts in the classes. And this first piece, much to my honor and surprise, was the one nominated for a Pushcart Prize. It's called Lipstick. As her birthday approached, she became smaller. Her body deflated and her thinking became more chiseled, mostly nouns and verbs, no context or flowers. We sat at the window table in the fancy tea salon. Sparkling white linen tablecloth, sparkling spoons and forks, sparkling array of obsidian and sapphire and emerald cakes and rainbow-colored marzipan sculptures on a slowly rotating tiered carousel. She sank down in her seat so her eye level met the third button of my shirt. I asked her, "So how does it feel to turn 95?" Her face slowly melted into a wet porridge of sneer and desperation. She mumbled, "How do you think?" I leaned forward and considered touching her arm, but instead grabbed a pink, pig-shaped marzipan cookie. I chewed slowly. She reached for a golden eclair encased in a veneer of chocolate lacquer. She pulled her hand back before her fingers made contact. She replaced her hand in her lap. Her other hand lifted the sparkling linen napkin from her lap and began to gently wipe the corners of her mouth as if she were brushing away the crumbs of the uneaten eclair. Each gentle dab of the napkin removed a particle of her red lipstick until her lips contracted to the size of a tiny pillow. This one is called The End, and it's kind of a stream of consciousness poem. I once saw Mina in my dream on the day after she died. She was running along a metal fence, you know, the kind with holes in it, shaped like squares, and she was young with her red hair flying and her long tail swishing like a flag blown by a strong breeze. And I was chasing her, trying to keep up, but she kept going faster and faster. And then to my surprise, she squeezed through one of the holes in the fence as if her body were lubricated, or the fence holes suddenly became pliable, and she got to the other side and kept running, but now like an eagle soaring or a jaguar sprinting, as fast and as joyous as pure sunlight. And I yelled, "Wait, wait, I can't squeeze through. I have to run all the way to the end of the fence and come back around the other side to follow you." But it was too late. I'd never catch up. She was bound for a new place, and it wasn't my time to be there. But at least I knew she was running fast and free, and she was filled with such bliss that I stopped trying to catch up and let her go, knowing that her leaving was not departing. It was going somewhere, somewhere glorious. And I couldn't stop her and shouldn't stop her. I should remember her and rejoice in her transformation to pure beauty and wonder. So Jorge Luis Borges, the Argentinian writer, said, "Writing prose is easier than writing poetry because prose allows for more careless moments. In a poem, every word must be perfect." These next short pieces were published in a journal that required each one be only 25 words and named after a nail polish color. They are very, very, very far from perfect, but they were hard to write. Golden Glow. Whenever he says, "I love you," she says, "Why?" He says, because. She says, I need more, that's not enough. He says, yes, it is. Smoky gray. She walks by, barely hearing his whispered request for money. She reaches the corner, returns, places $1 in his hand and whispers, thank you. Ruby radiance. Her soft red paw slowly stretches to touch the one tear dropping from my left eye. She licks the spot where the tear once hung. And finally, for the boomers and friends of boomers among us, Woodstock night. Surrounded, the noise, the music a blur of staccato and longing. The ground softened by torrents of sweet rain, harsh rain, angry rain, saving rain. Locking arms with a stranger who passes another joint. Unstoppable frenzy of Santana's guitar strings on fire. Roger Daltrey spinning, white jacket fringe flying as we all ask, Tommy, can you hear me? Janice, Janice, Janice screaming from the bottom of our bellies, pushing through the cheap liquor and the holy dreams. 2 a.m., the skies rip open. No electricity, no lights, only Joan Baez, her angel voice, a call to memory, to freedom. One woman's cry to unite us all with the heavens and remind us that there is a force hovering, seeking, protecting. Her music, our banner. We belong here. We belong together. We will do what we set out to do. Caressing the darkness, her song, a nightingale softly carried by the winds, she baptizes us. Oh, deep in my heart, I do believe we shall overcome someday. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Barbara. It's such an honor to be able to work with everyone at Litquick. There's such great writers, and great people as well. So I am going to pass it on to Aaliyah McFarland. She is the activities coordinator at St. Paul's Towers. And again, if you would like to check out more from Litquick, you could check out litquick.org. And hopefully we can work together. Thank you.
Hello, everybody. I'm actually Veronica Cohen. Aaliyah is going to be my partner in this segment of the symposium. So welcome, welcome. I'm so glad to see all of you here. This is we're called a movement moment, but it's a combination. We're going to do guided meditation and we're going to do movement. I'm a program manager for Creative Spark. I live in San Diego. I've been a guided meditation facilitator for over 20 years. Recently I was very inspired by this a concept about looking behind to look ahead. And it comes from an African philosophy from Ghana called Sankofa. And the literal meaning of Sankofa is go back and fetch it. So the idea is, along the theme that we're on, is that in order to move forward with hope in our hearts, we rely on those who've come before us, our lineage, our ancestors, our experiences that we've had. There's so much involved in lineage beyond, our blood relatives. So it's that idea of, what has been done in the past? What can I learn from that? What egg of wisdom can I bring forward to keep hope alive as I move forward in life? I am going to be joined, here she is, by Aaliyah McFarland. I'm going to do the guided meditation, and then Aaliyah is going to do Qigong. to get it into our bodies and integrate our meditation experience into our bodies. So Aaliyah, do you want to say a couple words about Qigong and why you chose that to share with us?
Well, Qigong is a way to relax the body through movement and breathe into the tight muscles, hydrate the body and the organs, and really just, you can do it any time of day. You don't have to have any special props. You just breathe, relax. I've seen a whole room change from anxiety to calmness. Someone napping, seemingly napping, just gently moving. And this gentleness hydrates us, everything about us.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. Okay, so the intention of this meditation is to uplift and nourish you with the power of Sankofa. So once again, it literally means go back and fetch it. It's a call to look to the past and take that wisdom with us to move forward. I'm going to share with you, there's at least 2 different symbols that represent Sankofa. I'm going to share one of the most popular ones with you, and this will be something that if anyone has done meditations before, or if you're kind of meditation wary, this is an image you can focus on during the meditation, just as kind of a soft focus. If you struggle with closing your eyes and going inward, you're perfectly welcome to look at this image. So this is a bird, and you can see his neck is turned backward. He's looking back, and then he's clutching that little golden egg of wisdom that he's getting from the past. And I just love this little Sankofa bird. It's so beautifully constructed in this image. Okay, so you know, he's looking backward while moving forward, and he's claiming the egg of wisdom. And I wanted to share this with you just to kind of start to get those symbols into your mind. So this is going to be about 5 minutes. So get comfortable wherever you are. If you can put your feet flat on the floor, that is highly recommended. And then I want you to close your eyes or softly gaze down at the floor at the image on the screen. Turn your attention inward toward your breath, allowing yourself to become an observer. Notice the rhythmic movement of your breath, the rise and fall of your chest, just checking in with all the sensations in your body right now, getting really present to this moment. Your breath and the sound of my voice are your touchstones. Whenever your mind wanders, just come back to the breath, come back to my voice. Simply returning to the breath, leave all concerns and busyness outside these few minutes. All right, so now I want you to imagine that you stand in a circle of trees with the full moon overhead. There's a fire in the center of the circle, lighting the trees and warming your face. You feel safe and comfortable. You gaze toward the fire and send your breath out to feed the flame. It grows brighter, and you hear your heartbeat like a drum calling your ancestors to the circle. You look over your shoulder and notice a line forming behind you. People, yes. Blood ancestors, also yes. But also those others who created who you are. The mentors, teachers, and other pivotal people who made your existence possible. It took at least 2,500 people to create you, so the line is long. And then you look ahead of you toward the fire. There you see images flickering of those in your line yet to come, the future of this line of people and experiences. Breathing in this moment of connection, upon exhaling, you notice a goose land next to you, curious and eager to help. You ask the goose to go back and fetch an egg of wisdom from your lineage, a message you need right now to help you toward your future that gives you hope The goose flies back down the line behind you until it finds the right message and brings it back to you. Take a moment now to hear your message, whatever first comes to mind. Now you can take your egg of wisdom and put it in your pocket for when you need it later. As you do, you feel a warm feeling spread through your body of connection, protection, and hope. Your limbs yearn to move, and you hear your ancestors begin to drum along to your heartbeat. You begin to dance around the fire, allowing the energy to move you. Your ancestors join you. You dance together under the moon in this place of remembering, celebrating the strength of your lineage and your dreams for the future. You dance until the light starts to creep over the horizon and the ancestors fade back into the past. Reconnecting to your breath, you breathe in the smell of the earth and the fire. You send a wave of gratitude out to your ancestors, your lineage. Thank you, thank you, thank you for your love, support, and wisdom. Now, ever so gently, you can come fully back into your body if you're not there already. Softly move your fingers and toes and prepare yourself to stretch and move with Aaliyah as she helps us ground Sankofa into our bodies and cement this feeling of thriving hope. When you are ready, you can open your eyes. All right. Oh, go ahead, Aaliyah. I'm ready for you. Go for it.
Continuing with looking back to look forward. You're going to stand or sit hip width apart. Make sure you are safe and comfortable. We're gonna sway, imagining a string at the top of your head connected to the base of your spine. Sway like the gentle breeze, the trees moving in the wind. Feel the relaxation in your spine as you undulate and twist. Breathe. Inhale, exhale. Circle on your feet, grounding them into the ground, but spreading your toes like the roots in the tree. Rocking forward and back. Heel to toe. Rocking inside, outside of the feet. Bring your knees apart, knees together, hips apart, hips close. Moving that into a rock on the outside edges of the feet. Toes inside, heels outside, and reverse. Moving up the body into the shoulders. Roll the shoulders back. Really feel the back opening, feel the chest expanding, and reverse. Breathe. Relax. Extend the arms out. Extend the fingers out. Pulling in and expand. Breathe. Like you're a bird, extend those arms, extend those fingers, extend your wings. You're gonna twist and take one arm forward and one arm back. Look back. Twist. One arm forward, one arm back, look back. Breathe. Pushing Fingers forward, one finger at a time. Rolling in towards the body, out, pinky, ring, middle, pointer, thumb. Rolling in, push. Reverse the move, pulling your palms towards yourself, your fingers towards yourself, pinky, ring, middle, pointer, thumb. Rotating your wrists, your elbows. You might hear my joints cracking. You can take one hand, pulling in, the other hand, feel the shoulders, hips, knees, ankles engaging. And then reverse, pushing out. Palms up, holding two imaginary candles. Show someone your candles. Rotate your arms out, above the head, rotating down. It's a spiral going up and down. Lean into it, stretching your hips, stretching your legs. You can take one hand at a time, spiraling up, spiraling down. Other hand. Again, feel the hips and the body moving in the spiral. You can add both. And just do what feels comfortable for you. And reverse. Holding that imaginary candle. It's okay if it drops. Opening up. Breathe. Pulling down. Lifting up. Pushing out. Repeat. Opening up. Pulling down. Lifting up. Pushing out. One more time. Opening up. Lift. Pulling up. Pushing out and down. Hope you feel a little more relaxed. Ideally, you would go slower and you would do each move more to your comfort. Thank you.
Yay, thank you so much, Aaliyah. Oh, I'm like getting warm. I can feel the
Yeah.
energy rising. Thank you. Yeah. And I love the looking back because it coordinated so well with the meditation that I could really feel like my body just moving in ways it normally doesn't and sitting at this desk. Oh, thank you so much. That was amazing. Thank you so much. Aaliyah is one of our amazing life enrichment professionals at St. Paul's Towers in Oakland. Highly, highly recommend anything Aaliyah's doing. She's always in the best know on mindfulness, movement, getting outdoors, moving. So she's one of our amazing, amazing community members and trainees. Thank you so much for being here. Yes, an original sparkler, Creative Spark. We call our trainees our sparklers, and she is one of the OG originals, I guess OS, original sparkler. So, okay, so thank you so much. Appreciate you. I am going to hand it off to our amazing program manager from Ruth's Table, Ashley, and she's going to be introducing us to our next segment. Take it away, Ashley.
Thank you so much, Veronica. Thank you, Aaliyah. I feel so blissed out after that. It's amazing. So thanks, everyone. Hello. My name is Ashley Harris. I'm the program manager at Ruth's Table in San Francisco. And I'm happy to be here today to tell you about our virtual program offerings, which inspire creativity, connection, and hope, of course, for participants all over the country. One of these programs, Virtual Studio, occurs every Thursday via Zoom at 2 to 3 p.m. Pacific Standard Time and is taught by our incredible teaching artists who lead art workshops in various mediums, including drawing, painting, collage, and more. We'll drop a link with more info in the chat so you can learn more and figure out how to join us. So today we're joined by one of our awesome virtual studio educators, Hugh Lehman, who is an artist, lecturer, and guest speaker whose creative practice combines art, technology, and social activism. So Hugh will lead us through a special draw along today so you can get a taste of our virtual studio program. So feel free to grab paper and a pencil and draw along with us. So I'll pass it on to you, Hugh. Thank you so much for being here with us today.
Hey, thank you all very much for having me. I'm really excited to share my passion for art, storytelling, and new technology with yourselves. I just put in the chat and shared with everyone a link to the project that we will be collaborating on today. This is a collaborative project that I started on a little bit more than 2 years ago with women who had immigrated from Latin America. In this project, in these Spanish-speaking classes, women would tell me stories from their journeys of immigration from Latin America to the United States, stories about raising children, or sometimes just stories about learning recipes from their mothers and grandmothers. I would use artificial intelligence and type those stories in to create a visual reference of their lived experiences. And then together as a community, we would draw and paint these images into artworks. We would then use those artworks as a basis for doing an oral history recording. They would record these stories to share with their grandchildren and future generations that they may never meet, so that those people will understand who their grandparents and ancestors were. All of this is what we're about to do together. So I'm going to start by sharing my screen, and in just a moment, you'll see how we have been doing this, and in not only Ruth's Table, but in countless communities across the Bay Area. So you're going to see here now on your screen, what you should be seeing is the beginning of a piece of paper on the left-hand side, and on the right-hand side, you see the very first image that I ever did in January of 2023. This was in collaboration with the very first participant to ever work on this project with me. So we're going to draw this together. This project, as much as anything, is about accessibility. So all anyone ever needs is a piece of paper and a pencil. Beyond that, we're tapping into new technologies such as the aforementioned artificial intelligence, as well as Zoom, to connect people that are physically distant, that have mobility issues, as well as for other reasons such as during the pandemic. All of this has allowed us to connect family members and connect to one another amidst a time of such digital division and social isolation. So to start this drawing that pays homage to the very first story ever told in this project, it's the story of a mother in El Salvador in a one-room dirt floor house in the 1960s, teaching her daughter, who was the woman that told me this story, about how to make masa. Masa is a corn flour powder, basically what we would think of to make tortillas on a metate. This is a traditional element that these women are using to grind the dried corn into flour, and then they're making tortillas on a traditional comal in the background. The comal and the metate have been in use for over 2,000 years, dating all the way back to the ancient Maya. They're still used today, but becoming more and more rare. And she wanted the recipe and these traditional cooking elements to be shared with her future generations, as well as her grandchildren. So to start this drawing off, we're going to do something very, very simple. And that is putting in basically 2 triangles here. Putting in one down here. And now you have the first triangle. The idea here is not artistic precision, but human connection through this project. So if your triangle is a bit different than mine, that's absolutely perfect. You have a real big triangle about more or less a third of the way up the paper. Now at the top of your paper, you're going to make this really small triangle up here. And this really small triangle is going to allow us to connect the 2 triangles in just a minute. So all we've done is put 2 little lines at the top and 2 big lines at the bottom to make these, loosely speaking, triangles. Again, if yours is different, that's fantastic. And if you've turned your paper sideways and started your paper horizontal and you see I'm doing mine vertical, that's absolutely fine. Whatever you're doing, just go with that and improvise. We're not here to make it perfect. We're here to connect. And that's the essence of this project. So with these 2 little triangles, the next thing I'm going to do is just draw a straight line that connects them, one to the other. If you don't have a ruler, that's totally fine. use another piece of paper, or perhaps you have some junk mail, a postcard, the edge of a book, whatever you may have that has a straight edge, just draw along the side of that, or just do it freehand. And in just 5 little lines, we now have a ceiling, a floor, and 2 walls to begin this artwork. We're just starting to put the viewer in this artwork into the realm of that one-room house in El Salvador all the way back in the 1960s. So now that we have just 5 lines to do that, we're going to start with the windows. To do windows, it's quite simple. We're going to do basically parallel lines, parallel to the floor line and the ceiling line. To do that, I'm just going to put in here 1 line up here and another line down here. And after that, I'm going to connect these 2 lines with vertical. And again, you can use whatever straight element that you may have in the house. So that's 1 straight line, vertical, 2 straight line. Now, one of the goals here, which if yours is a little bit different, that's totally fine, is of those 2 vertical lines that are starting to form the basis of this window, it's ideal that the line that is vertical on the left, I'll put an A on top of it. You don't need to put the letter. That line is taller than line B. This is because line B is a little bit further away from us, and therefore it gets a little bit smaller. If yours is a little bit different, it's absolutely fine. Don't worry about it. The idea here is we're just learning a framework so that long after this workshop is over, we can continue to make these stories come to life from our own lived experiences and memories and share them with the future. Okay, so we've got that rectangle going. Now, in the very top left of that window rectangle, I'm going to make a tiny little diagonal line that takes us to this here. And with that tiny little line, we're going to make something that's a really small line but has a really powerful effect. We're going to draw 2 parallel lines, parallel to our top line and parallel to our bottom line. And that creates the depth of this window ledge, like that. And the very last line we're going to make in this window connects there. So we basically just made 2 little rectangles inside one another and a little couple of diagonal lines to connect one rectangle to the other. And so now we can start putting in whatever is outside that window. In this case, she grew up in El Salvador, the very first participant to ever be a part of this project. And outside was a volcano and the hillsides that were covered in green foliage. Now, on the left, we have 1 window. On the right, we can add another window. But for now, we're just going to leave that out, and we're going to start to put in the most important part, and that's the people. The people are what form the basis of the beauty of this artwork. So to begin to do this, what we'll start with is the rectangles of the bodies. Instead of, it can be quite tempting to make the head and then try and attach the rest of the parts of the body to the head. Oftentimes, the best way to draw a human from going from 0 to 1 in that first step is to start to structure in their torso, the biggest part of the human body, and then attaching the smaller parts, the legs, arms, and the head. That's what we'll do here. And if your window is a little bit different than mine, guess what? You're in good luck, because we're going to cover up part of that window with her shoulder. And to do that, I'm just going to put in this soft curling line here. The soft curling line that you see is a line that's going to form her shoulders. And a little bit, we'll put her head, of course, on top of that. But for now, all we've done is put that line in, and then we're going to start putting in her back. We're keeping it real simple right now. Later, we can start to structure in something that's more organic and rounded, like a human form. In the beginning, we can think of these as blocks, building blocks. And then later, we start to carve the blocks down to make them a bit more realistic, like a human actually would look. So I have a couple lines left, and right here, like this, I have the beginning of her torso. Now, your eraser becomes a really powerful tool, because I take the eraser and I erase the line that we did at the start of class, which is that vertical line, and part of the window. And just like that, her chest is now in front of the wall and the window and whatever you would put outside that window that can represent your reality, your experience of wherever you may have grown up. Now that we have her torso in here, a bit crudely, and we will evolve upon that, the next thing we want to do is build this really simple rectangle. And that simple rectangle is her legs. So we have her hips that turn into her legs, such as this here. And we don't even really need to finish her legs because we're going to put something in front of that, which is yet another rectangle, which is that metate that we see them grinding the corn on. Before we add any more of her, what I want to do is take my eraser and erase that portion there. And now she is in front of the floor, the walls, and the window. So in just these handful of minutes and lines, we're starting to make her come to life, make her three-dimensional, and make this a dynamic artwork. Okay, so we've got this portion ready to go. The next thing we really want to start doing here is to give a little bit of life to this interaction, because after all, that's the true heart and soul of this artwork, the interaction between the mother teaching her daughter to grind the corn into flour to make tortillas. This interaction is quite simple. We're going to put our pencils on the very top right of the shoulders. And when we do that, what we end up with kind of this simple sketch line here to start, and then another one like this. So we'll keep it real simple in the beginning. And what we have is basically two rounded lines. And those two rounded lines are going to start forming her arm. We're going to do the same thing that we just did there on the top left. So her other shoulder starts to do the same thing. In this case, a trick I like to use a lot of times is to make two arrows. So you can see I'm just making these two angled arrows that are pointing towards the left side of the artwork, and they become a part of her shoulder, her arm, and her forearm. So now we have the beginning of this person's body. But what we really want to start to do is to make it come to life and look a little bit more realistic. To do that, I'm going to start to shape her in a little bit, because right now we just have a bunch of blocks that are stacked together. And this point is where each person can kind of take it in their own direction and improvise. You don't have to do what the image tells you to do. You don't even have to do what I tell you to do. The idea of art is that you make something that's not perfect. After all, a memory is not perfect. Genuine, non-transactional human relationships and interactions and connections are not perfect. Neither is art. And that's why we love it for tens of thousands of years throughout our histories, because it reminds us of ourselves, and they're not perfect. But that's the beauty of it. If we wanted something perfect, we just take a photo. So I'm going to look at mine and say, hey, that left-hand shoulder, it's not perfect. And I could adjust it a little bit. I'm not trying to make it perfect. I just want to make it a little bit more realistic. And so I adjust it a little bit here. And I'm going to put sleeves and a head hole on her shirt. And that's really going to make her come to life here. So to make her start coming to life, in the top middle, I'm going to put in a half circle. Right there, we put in this half circle shape. And that's going to be the head hole on her shirt. And very similar shapes. We're going to do two little half circles on the sides of her arms. And now her arms are sticking out of her shirt. And so what we end up with is starting to give some depth to this artwork and to this person. The next thing that we really want to do here is to direct her head towards the action. To do that,
One of the shapes I like to think of oftentimes is an oval. As an oval or an egg is a lot of times how they'll teach you to draw a head in just about any class. But let's simplify that even more still and think of almost like a tilted letter J. This tilted letter J that I'm going to put in here, J as in like Jonathan, and I'm just putting that in there because I haven't committed too much energy to it, and I can start to adjust it and make her look up or down, or maybe in your drawing, she's not looking down at the metate where they're making the grinding of the corn. Maybe she's looking over at her daughter and watching her daughter do it. Maybe she's looking out the window or she's checking over her shoulder at the comal that's cooking the tortillas in the background. True to the form, after putting in that J, what we'll do is start to basically divide her head in half to put some hair above it. And when we do that, it starts to give this form that she is indeed looking down. But first, I want to erase those lines. And when we do that, we can see she is indeed looking in the direction of this arrow here. And that's really what we want, is to give her this interaction with either the thing that they're doing or the person that she's with. And that's what really starts to create visual storytelling elements. On the back, I'll just give her really quickly here a bit of hair kind of hanging down past her shoulders. And so in just these handful of lines, we've started stacking some blocks together and we start to get the human form that begins to emerge. As the human form begins to emerge, now is the important part where we're going to put in this metate. And so to do that, I'll put in here and here 2 lines, connect them. The real secret to making drawings that look dynamic, 3-dimensional, and reflect a bit of our memories of reality is the trapezoid. This is to say a square rectangle that's bigger on one side than it is on the other. So this metate that I'm putting the M on right now, it's really just a rectangle that gets a little bit wider as it comes to the bottom of the artwork. Now, in most of these workshops, they're 1 to 2 hours long, so we have plenty of time to really focus on this. Today, we don't have so much time, so what I'll do here is just drop in a couple of quick little lines here and here, and draw what I just drew once more. And the metate is 3-dimensional all of a sudden. And of course, we add in little legs so that it stands on the floor. And now the mother is going to have her hands on this rolling pin. The rolling pin element is what's been in use for so long, as well as the grinding stone. I'm just putting in her hands here. And so while in our short period of time together, we may not get to finish this, but we get the idea that we can really bring stories to life through visual artworks. And the profundity of visual art is that it has the tendency to outlast us and outlive us. This is why we have cave paintings that are 20,000 plus years old. We can look back and see what those people were wanting us to know about them and the interactions they were having with one another. Here we can do the same. So here we have the mother, and she's beginning to grind some of this corn flour here. And then we would put in the daughter using the same techniques. And then of course we would add in the windows. But for ourselves today, because we don't have so much time, what we'll do is we'll just add in the absolute essence of what we need to make this come to life. And that is, of course, human connection. So we have the one person. Now I'm going to add in the second person. The second person's face is basically just a backwards J. And we use that same form to start to make the daughter's little body. This is that first woman ever to share this story. So all we're thinking about is using a letter J to start to structure a person's face, in some version more or less of a rectangle to build their torso. Now finally, we put in her legs. And here she's wearing a dress as she traditionally wore when she was a little girl. And maybe we put out the back her feet. And so in this case, I've often been asked, well, why use AI? Can't you just use pictures? And of course, we could use pictures, but how many of us have pictures of actual moments that were profound about our life experiences? Usually pictures are very posed, people forcing smiles, putting their arms around each other, maybe making a peace sign at the camera. And we don't have those pictures that represent the first time we fell in love, or the first time we went and got ice cream with our father, or the first time we made a recipe with our mother. And as is the case, it's common during these journeys of immigration, the overwhelming majority of these people don't have any photos. So we can start to bring these experiences back to life and share them with people that we may never meet. And those are our future generations, our grandkids, so that they can not only know who we were, but they can begin to know a bit more about themselves, through their shared family history and our shared cultural memories. I'm starting to draw the same thing here, kind of dividing the head in half and putting the beautiful pigtails kind of down the back side of her head. And now, with a little bit of time we have left, what we typically have done in these workshops is we'll go around and look at what different people have drawn during this. And so we'll typically have people hold up their artwork and show what they made during our workshop. And not only what they made, but they can tell us if they had a similar experience. So I'm just going to put in her arms here real briefly so that we get the idea that what we're doing in this class is we're bringing people's stories back to life, using the ancient idea of creativity and art making with storytelling, something that's happened for thousands of years, but using new technology like Zoom to do this in distant communities, from distant places with people who have mobility issues, and using AI to recreate images, all while we tap into our creative collective imagination. So here you have a brief introduction to AI storytelling, to which I put a link in the chat. And now you can see that we can bring stories to life and connect communities while preserving cultural memory. So thank you for those of you who drew along. I'm going to unshare my screen, and now I'm going to come back to the room with yourselves and see what we've come up with. So if anybody would like to share what they have created, perhaps Jessica, I see we've got different people here showing what they're working on. Jean, this is excellent. Oh, wow. Aaliyah, that's...
Oh my gosh, Aaliyah, beautiful. Ashley, look at this.
I cheated. I've
Suzanne.
studied human art and drawing since I can pick up a pencil. So
I'm running around seeing all the spotlighting. Oh my gosh, look at this.
Jessica, that's excellent. And Ashley, wow, you guys have really done something special here in the short period of time. And Jean, yourself as well. And you started to add the details on the face, it looks like. So thank you all so much for drawing along. I know there's other people that are drawing along, but you can get this introduction to this. And if you want to find out more, of course, there's a link I put in the chat. Feel free to reach out. And thank you to Ashley, Evan, Ruth's Table, and Jessica for including me in this. It's been a great joy of mine. So thank you all very much.
Thank you so much, Hugh. That was amazing. Thank you for breaking down the drawing process so beautifully and for providing such a meaningful image for us to work from. That was wonderful. So everyone, feel free to join us, Virtual Studio, every Thursday from 2 to 3 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. We would love to welcome you on to that program. So thank you, everyone. I'm delighted now to introduce you all to two very important people in our gallery community. So Suzanne Reich is an incredible arts and museums educator who facilitates our monthly interactive slow looking program, which occurs the second Thursday of each month at 1 to 2 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, right before Virtual Studio. We're also joined by the wonderful Jean Keene, program manager at Front Porch Gallery in Carlsbad, our sister gallery in Southern California. So Jean and I will stay on to be live participants during the slow looking segment, and we encourage you all as attendees to share your responses via the chat function. We'd love to hear from you. So thank you, Suzanne and Jean, for joining us today, and I'll pass it on to you, Jean.
Thank you. Hi, I'm Jean, like Ashley said, from Carlsbad in San Diego County, and I'm really happy to be here. And we are in the Carlsbad Village, a little German village right by the sea. We have a really beautiful gallery with a lot of workshops and a lot of fun things going on at Saturday with all ages, but we do have a focus like the other gallery to older adults and adults with disabilities. So I'm happy to be here. And Suzanne, I'm looking forward to hearing your presentation.
Okay, let me share my screen. We'll jump right in. So we've heard about these different ways of working in community creatively and communicating together. And slow looking, I was thinking as Hugh was walking us through that, slowing down, looking at an artwork and recreating it and recreating the story of the artwork. Really, there's so many wonderful overlaps. So each month we take a look at an artwork from Ruth's Table or from Front Porch Gallery. And so let's just take a moment to look at this artwork from Front Porch Gallery. And I'm going to invite webinar participants to put in the chat, and panelists just to unmute and speak or raise their virtual hand just to say to answer the question, what do you see here?
I can start us out. I'm seeing a lot of beautiful texture and colors, and I'm seeing these textures creating kind of an arc right where your cursor is, almost as if water is flowing down a surface like a waterfall.
Super. Thanks, Ashley, for starting us off. So Ashley started off calling our attention to the texture in this piece, to color, and then to this movement, to this arc going through. And actually, as Aaliyah was moving, I was thinking of this piece as well. Super. What more can we find? Thank you, Ashley.
We've got some comments in the chat. Renee says fish.
Mm.
We have, it looks like dolphins is another observation. School of colorful fish. Someone else sees dolphins. Scales, soothing colors. The reflection of the full strawberry moon on the water. Fish are jumping to see the spectacle. An ocean, the sea, fish in a pond at sunset, colorful fish swimming, or tropical birds' feathers. Lively yet soothing. Yeah, we've got more.
Wonderful. Thank you, Evan. So there's a mix there of seeing things represented in the ocean, the light, seeing that movement and the colors. And I want to bring in now Crystal McDonald, who is the artist of this piece. And I'm looking at Crystal amongst the panelists, and I'm thinking that Crystal might actually be sitting in front of the piece itself, which is super cool and kind of meta. So Crystal, we've heard a little bit from participants, what they're seeing and noticing. I wonder if you could tell us a little bit what you as the artist hope for us to feel as we sit in front of your artwork.
Well, I love all the different perspectives. That is what I wanted. I don't want any definite, say fish. I mean, that is what most people do see, but I wanted to be open to what you see from it. I'm going to read my my description of this piece first. It's diving into vibrant blues and pinks. This piece speaks of exploration and discovery. With dancing brushstrokes across the surface, It reflects the journey we all take in search of our own path. May it serve as a reminder that even in challenging moments, there's beauty to be found and strength within us to keep going. So I did paint this when I was going through some challenging times, and this piece does show chaos. There's a lot of layers, a lot of flowing lines, and texture. So I mainly use a palette knife like this for most of it. And then these templates for texture. And so if you look at it from different angles, there's also iridescent, so you can see different things also. We can't really tell here, but in person you can. When I painted this, I felt really freeing, like I could do anything I wanted, but to just trust and let go and just see what comes out of it. So I named it I Will Find the Way, because life is not always calm, but that we do have to believe that we have the power to adapt and make it better. And so I hope this piece reminds you that even when things are not so good, that you will find the way.
Thank you, Crystal. And before I ask you the next question, actually, I'm going to invite everyone, having heard Crystal's title, I Will Find the Way, perhaps take a second look back at the artwork and see if how that might alter the way you look at it, if you see something new, if there's some surprise as you look again, having heard a little bit from the artist. And then, Crystal, I'm going to ask you also, we've talked a lot in this symposium about creative practice. And so I wanted to offer you the chance to tell us a little bit about your own creative practice. How have you come to this? How does your artistic week look? We've talked a lot about kind of doing again and again creative and artistic things, and I wonder a little bit what that's like for you.
Well, I like to create something that's never been seen before. I would never be a plein air artist, meaning I would never sit in front of a scenery or a person and paint that, because I feel that I want to just be free, not have to copy. And so that's my creative process. And I love, you know, choosing whatever color I want, whatever brush or palette knife or medium surface, and just based on how I feel at that time. So, you know, I don't really have a specific style. If you check out my other pieces, they kind of vary, but they all are colorful. So.
Thank you so much, Crystal. So that's a little bit of a glimpse, and we're very blessed today to have Crystal joining us as the artist. Monthly at Ruth's Table, we're looking at two pieces again, typically from our exhibition space or from Front Porch Gallery, to get a sense of what other people are thinking, to listen to each other's observations, and to slow down. So that's what we have today. I will stop the share. Is there,
I'll pick it up.
okay.
Thanks. Thank you, Suzanne and Crystal. So cool to see your piece in live space and, virtually on the screen. It's striking to me, the experience kind of feels different. So it makes me really realize, like, when it comes to the art process, it really is intuitive. It's in the moment. And then when you share it out to the world, the way in which it's perceived can be, so different. And that's what I love about Slow Looking, is to see all the different comments, coming through the chat box of how people experience them differently. And it's such a good reminder for us all that, we are, while we're all on this like journey of life together, we are experiencing it differently. And that's a beautiful thing, and embracing that and honoring that for people. So thank you, Suzanne. Always a pleasure. Thank you, Crystal. Really looking forward to, following more of your pieces out there in the world.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, my friends, we are rounding out the 8th annual Creative Aging Symposium. I've been keeping an eye on the Q&A. I haven't seen anything come through, but I have been seeing beautiful chats in the chat box. So panelists, if you haven't yet, scroll through and see all the love and support. If there are questions, I'm slowly chatting, so you can drop them in. For me, I wanted to take a moment and throw it back to MJ. One thing that struck out to me in your poem was this really visceral woohoo. And I was wondering if, wherever you are, join me in a woohoo. It's just, as you said, live and let your playful energy flow out of you. So as we sat here staring at the screen and enjoying all this creative experiences, give yourself a moment of woohoo!
Woohoo!
Yeah, all together. And MJ, while I have you, I'm gonna add a spotlight. I
Okay.
just
It is
kind of
MG, by the way.
Oh yeah, MG. Sorry. I've been doing that right for about 5 years now.
Yeah.
It's because, and I'll say it again, I've said it before, it's because I have someone I love very dear that's an MJ. And it's also my initials. So MG, creativity just seems to be a part of your daily. And if there are people joining today, who said, "How'd you get there? Where did this all begin? How do I welcome creativity? How do I let myself play?" What would you say to them?
First, I'll say that it does not necessarily come naturally, and a lot of this has come from aging. That I might not have let myself be creative in certain ways. And so a lot of it just, I think, came with a little more confidence and willingness to take a risk and realize that it probably is not going to literally kill me, whatever it is.
Yeah.
So just try it and see what happens.
I love that. I kind of want that as a t-shirt, the confidence that comes from aging. We're taught so differently, you know? We're taught so differently. Well, thank you so much for being willing to get pulled back up in the closing remarks.
Thanks, Jessica.
Barbara,
Great to see you.
oh, always good to connect. Oh man. Barbara, if you are still there, if you put yourself back on screen so I know, hey, Barbara, I'm gonna put a spotlight on you because I'm so eager to connect with you in this way. If you don't mind, could you have such wisdom when it comes to care partnerships and that caregiving relationship. And I was curious about how creativity could play a role in that relationship. Do you mind speaking to that for a moment?
Wow, Jessica, that's going to be my next book.
Really?
Well, now it will be. Creativity play. Well, I think, playfulness, laughter, creativity is the light in the darkness. And I think you can search for it. It may not just appear in your landscape, but that doesn't mean it's not there, and you can't search for moments. So and as Anthony related in my bio, I have a chronic pain condition. And there were many moments when it got very dark, but that didn't stop my husband from strategically placing random socks on the stairs, heading upstairs. And I said to him, "What, Richard, why are these socks on the stairs?" And he said, "Well, they're the lost socks. They're making a break for it." And not hysterically funny, but it was a moment of lightness and great creativity. And it just creates a different kind of sweet flavor to the caregiving bond.
It sure does. Thank you so much. And thank you so much for all you have done and for your beautiful poems today. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And thank you for this event. It was inspiring, spectacular, just wonderful. A light.
Oh, I so appreciate it. I really, was really hoping to make it very experiential so everybody could find their way into the moment, different access points, so you could really feel creativity inside of you. Aaliyah, can I bring you forward for one last encore? There was a lot in the chat. How do I take more classes with Aaliyah, for one? But could you talk a little bit, because Qigong is kind of how one of the paths of falling in love with you many years ago was experiencing your Qigong. Could you talk about how you kind of found your way to this practice?
So I always wanted to do it. I even bought a book for dummies when my son was born, but I looked at it, but I never had the opportunity until COVID. And so I call Qigong my COVID blessing, honestly. I was passing out in residence rooms just from the stress of everything. And our wonderful community pumped exercise classes, Tai Chi, Qigong, into our public station through the community. And I would go in with residents with dementia. And that was one of the residents who was like napping, but she really wasn't. She was doing the Qigong. And so then I would do it with her because she would literally walk down the hall at 3 o'clock looking for her husband for Chinese food. They were supposed to meet in Brooklyn, but we're in San Francisco. So I was with her a lot. But she was so calm during those moments. And then she'd wake up from, all that energy has to go out somewhere. And then I took that to other residents with anxiety and who would watch the news 24/7. And I brought that to them. And we would watch it together and do it. And it just was contagious. And I literally saw the room transform. Memory care, somebody's anxious in the back, a staff is anxious in the front of the community. And we would do the Qigong. And the room just transformed. And I did also a 100-day Qigong through the Daily Good News.org. They have a Awaken, there's this whole thing on there, dailygoodnews.org. So I did that one with people around the world during COVID. And then we had a lady she's a doctor, and she prescribed Qigong, healing Qigong, to people who were suffering with long COVID because she had a disease that she couldn't get out of bed. And so this is that thing you can do whenever, forever, right? And I try to just get people to do a little bit of it because some of us can't sit still all the time. But when you just connect with your own breath, your own movement, your own tension, release it. I mean, just standing, I was like feeling my foot hurting. But once I started doing the sway, all that, like my foot doesn't hurt anymore. And so it just has this really, I'll say, magical ability to transform our body into a relaxation state so then our minds can relax.
Yeah. And that relaxation gets us out of fight or flight mode.
Absolutely.
That's so
and away from disease and illness. And I've had my own bouts with pain, and that it's no joke when you just want to get out of this world, but Qigong can save you from that feeling because you have a tool that's free And you just have this awareness that, okay, I can get out of that pain. Just, I have to be more still, more slow, and breathe into it. Just like having a baby. Breath. You can't have a baby without breath.
Can't have much without breath, I'll tell you that.
Correct.
But being able to be intentional about tapping into it is so
Yes.
great. Well, thank you so much, Aaliyah. You are a star sparkler.
Thank you.
Keep an eye out on Creative Spark through our website, creativespark.org. We offer trainings on how to develop your own creative engagement programming. But I'm so pleased and proud to have brought our creative engagement team together in this way. Ruth's Table, Front Porch Gallery, Creative Spark, and our beautiful partners. Thank you all for participating in the Creative Aging Symposium, Hope Thrives. I really feel like we needed a slice of that today, and everybody's words were so moving and impactful. Thank you so much. And everybody who joined, your presence mattered. I hope you go on carrying this inspiration with you. Tap into it individually, but also create that collective action, because really together is where the hope thrives. So thank you so much. I can't believe we ended on time. It's fantastic. Be well and stay in touch. Bye, everybody.